Hello, folks. It's been a stressful few days, a week, actually, a whole month, I could say. And I feel like I need to turn off my brain a little bit and relax. And I have a whole bunch of violet sketches that I've been making a little bit at a time in between stressful other things. And now the page is full of them, and I haven't felt like getting into coloring them just yet. Even now, I feel like I don't know if I'm ready for this because I'm still feeling like really stressed. Yeah, anyway, so basically, the story of these sketches is I went to the forest, I saw a lot of early spring flowers, including violets, and I haven't drawn this. I don't know, I haven't drawn many violets in general, and I just kind of felt like doing that. So I sketched a whole bunch as studies, and now I'm thinking of coloring them, and you can join me for that. And we're going to make it real peaceful and relaxing, hopefully. I had a little bit of space in the corner there where I made like a test sketch to test my colors, kind of, although the whole thing is a test, I guess, and a study. But we're going to start with this little corner. I don't want to overthink it, although I am already overthinking it because like my brain is so boiled. So yeah, we're going to try and relax and then do this. I've already realized that I don't feel like I have quite the colors I need for this because with this I'm going quite realistic. But you know what? It's whatever. It's whatever. This is the bottle. So I just finished one of the illustrations. I think it turned out okay. I think I'm not very good at blending my markers, but at the same time I don't mind it too much. Actually, I think this is an improvement of how I usually do it, so that's good. There is more to work there. Also, at times I managed to get a bit more in the zone, so I forgot to take a lot of interesting angles when I was recording, but this shouldn't be the most important thing, though if I'm making a video about it, it has some importance, I guess. So I think for the next illustration I'm going to just do it all on my own, so that I don't have to be distracted and worry about other things, because I'm already still stressed about my life and I'm having really hard time like calming down my nervous system, so having to constantly move angles and worry about the camera doesn't help me relax with this drawing. So yeah, I'm going to make one just for myself and I'll share it with you afterwards. Later we can talk about it. So I'm done coloring the next illustration. Let me show you. For the green here I went with a more blue green, and this one is as a whole a bit more maybe brighter, a bit more watercolory, I guess. That's how it feels to me, a bit more light and transparent. Maybe it needs a bit more contrast actually. I'm not sure. I tried to work with fewer colors, so hopefully the blending works better. For the next one, which I think is going to be this one, I'm thinking of going with more of a pinkish green. And if that sounds weird to you, what I mean is something like this, a green that has some more reddish vibe to it. It's less fresh and less spring, but I think it would work well with the purple. So while it's less realistic, I think it might look a little bit, I don't know, more harmonious or something like that, color-wise. We'll see. For now, the current attempts, the greens are pretty fresh, I guess. And I like them, but I wanna experiment more. And if that experiment doesn't work out how I want it, I think I will go back to something like this, something more bluish green with some yellows and pinks here and there in the lights and shades respectively, I think. I don't know, I'm not following what I'm saying at all. Alright, let's pause here and talk about this one for a little bit. Here I'm going with darker colors and more pinkish, bluish or pinkish colors for the violet. And I don't like how the blending turned out. It's very spotty, it's not very seamless. And part of the problem is that I don't quite have the right colors to blend in. Like actually the colors I wanted to go with is this kind of more bluish purple in the dark spots, but I don't quite have the transition mid-tone sort of color to use here, so I'm using this kind of more pinkish one and they're not blending too good, and yeah, it's just not working. So maybe I should have went with the more pinkish version, because I guess I could manage that for the darker parts. I don't know, maybe I'll try that later on. Maybe I'll try it here. I don't know if it's gonna be too much. Maybe I'll try it. Yeah, not super happy with how this turned out. It's like a big blob. Like over here, I think I like how this one turned out a lot better. Like it's a lot more light and I don't know, nice. It doesn't seem as overworked. But yeah, that's it. Back to coloring. Okay, let's analyze these two. So I think I like how this one turned out better, and I think part of that is because the colors I have the better range to be blended than on this side. Basically, I have the colors I needed to make it work. Wow, here I didn't have light colors that matched the dark colors, whatever. I don't know how to express myself. Hopefully you can see what I mean. And yeah, I've outlined it with a pencil that matches the closest the colors I have. I don't really have a lot of purple pencils. In fact, I only have two. Well, actually, I have one. One that is kind of purple. The other one is blue. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't really use purple very much until recently, and now I actually really am into purple. So I have to look into getting more purple colors, I guess. But yeah, I think it might be a little weird that these are basically on the same plant, but they're like kind of different colors. But I don't know, I like to imagine that maybe this one is hit by the sun while this one is a bit more in the shadow or something like that. We'll see how it turns out when I add the leaves, because yeah, now we're going to go into the leaves, and for this one I will be using greens that have somewhat of a pinkish bias to them to see how that works. And I think my theory is that it's going to match really well with these purple pinks, but we'll see. Okay, so let's see what happened here. I think this kind of green, the more pinkish green as I like to call it, suits really well this more pink purple. So this one kind of stands out in a not so nice way, but I mean, this is a place where we're just learning things, so it's okay. If I was to redo it, I would use this palette for this one as well. And to compare it to the more bluish palette, I think I like both. I think they both work in a different way. And yeah, I enjoy both. With the remaining two sketches that you can't really see that well here, I will make one in this palette and one in this palette. I don't think I'll record that because I would like to now fully focus on the illustration for those and to kind of see if there is improvement. What is the improvement? Have we learned anything? And after I finish those, I'll come back to you for some final thoughts and notes. And in the meantime, you can let me know what you think. Which one do you like more, the blue or the pinkish version? And yeah, if you notice anything else that I'm missing, just let me know. And we're back with the finished page. Here we have my test drawing. This was also kind of a test. And the rest, we did this one and this one together, and the rest I did off camera. So what did we learn? Well, one thing I learned, and that I keep learning, is that it would be really good to take notes as I'm doing this, as realizations and ideas pop up in my mind, but I didn't leave a lot of space for that. Also, I wish I put down some swatches of what markers I used for each illustration. For example, with this one, I wanted to mimic this one and make it very similar, but that didn't end up being the case. Here the green is a little bit more yellow, while here is a bit more blue. I guess this leaf is kind of more like representative of what this end up happening. And I have a general idea what markers I used where, but still I wish I put swatches down, and I should really do more of that in the future. I guess part of the reason why I don't do swatches and notes is because I feel like it's going to ruin the page. Oh no. But it's a sketchbook, it's for learning, it's supposed to be ruined. So like, yeah, let's ruin more sketchbooks, I guess. I also try to be very efficient with the space, not leave too much. And now I don't have space for notes and swatches and all that. So I think that's my main takeaway. And then about the blending, I still don't think I've been able to make it very smooth and kind of what I had in mind. I do like how it turned out some places, like I like this leaf, I like this leaf, but generally I feel like oftentimes I end up making things very spotty and splotchy, like here, this one. And part of that is the colors I have and the markers I have. For the most part, for this illustration, I use Artify markers, and they don't have brush nib, which really annoys me. I love the brush nib, but they were a gift, so can't complain. Well, I just did. And when you have colors that are close to each other, they blend well, and when you don't, they don't, you know. But I also don't want to have every single color out there so I can blend everything perfectly. So there needs to be a way to work with that. And I don't know, I guess I like how it worked out here, where the blending is not perfect. Like there is, like you can see the strokes, but it works, at least in my opinion. And there are places where it's just too harsh, like here. I also feel like even though this was a learning page, I still feel like, at least from what I remember, I mostly had the same approach, which wasn't very learning friendly. But as I said, I've been stressed, I haven't been feeling good, so it's not the best environment for learn and play. And I guess in the end this turned out to be more of a thing to mindlessly relax than to really learn. Also, what is up with this shell here? This went totally wrong. I don't know if I didn't notice it in the sketch or if I distorted the sketch somehow, but yeah, this, what is this? And yeah, another thing is this focus on realism, or kind of a realism, I guess, had made me miss the more impressionistic, I guess, approach to things. So maybe I'll do some of that next, where I actually want to have colors clashing and I don't care about blending. And I guess just, yeah, I think that's one thing. I generally don't care a lot about blending. It was never really that much of my style to really blend things and make things very realistic. But I guess the thing with realism is that you oftentimes feel like it's a way to prove your artistic ability. The more you can make something look realistic, the better artist you are. And I don't think that's true, but we all fall in traps every now and then. Also, I want to do some more landscapes. I haven't done landscapes in a while because I've been doing a lot of botanicals, which is great. I love botanicals, but I want to do landscapes now, I guess. And in general, I've been missing a lot of play and fun, and it's hard when you're not relaxed mentally. But yeah, anyway, let me know if you've enjoyed that. Let me know if you've noticed something, had any observations, want to point out something, because maybe there's something that you saw and I didn't see. Feel free. I'm open to feedback. Also, something that I'm curious about is, do you prefer voiceover for drawing process or music? Because I can do either. I feel like it depends on the mood for me. Sometimes I want something more relaxing. Sometimes I want to just have the ambient background noises, no music, no voice, no nothing. Sometimes I want a silly voiceover. So it's very hard to decide what to do, and I feel like I just go with whatever I feel like in the moment. But yeah, I'm curious if you have any input on that. Put it down in the comments, if any. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say right now, so I'm just gonna shut up now.